Hey, this is Coach Damin. Today we're going to bring you 4 moves in our Kyrie Irving series. If you watch a lot of NBA, you know that Kyrie arguably has the tightest handle in the NBA. He's quick with it, he can shake, it's tight, it's explosive, he can get to the rim, he can get to shots. Even just his setup often shakes guys because he's so tight, he's so unpredictable, and he's so quick as he's shifting back and forth with the ball in his hands. If you do any research on Kyrie, you know that even from a young age, he was constantly working on his handle. Putting trash bags on balls, wrapping them up so they'd be slick and would lose their grip. He had a lot of innovative ways to work on his game that have now given him a complete and total arsenal, more extensive than most anybody in the NBA as far as dribble separation moves, being able to get to the rim, finish, set up, attack, kick, pick and roll. He's unstoppable when he gets going downhill. As we go through this series, it's important for you to understand that these are the final steps. It took Kyrie years of work building foundations, working on simple things to get to where he could use these in the game. So make sure that when you try to apply them into your workouts, you do them stationary. You do them without a defense before you try to apply them in the game. If you try to go straight without practicing and put these into a game, it's probably not going to end well. So practice it, go full speed, do it in simulated games, 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, and then work to eventually add it to your game a month or 2 down the road. So as we break these down, every single one, your goal isn't to do them tomorrow. Your goal is to work to be able to eventually do them. Our first move in the Kyrie series is going to be a spin move. And if you quickly YouTube search Kyrie spin move, you're going to see that just like a lot of elite players, he can get to the rim and spin to the rim, finishing off a 1, finishing off a 2. He always spins off the defender. He creates contact, spins off, and finishes. But what Kyrie is able to do, maybe better than anybody else in the league, is attack downhill and use his spin move while continuing his attack. Most guys use their spin move into a shot, into a finish, or into a setup. What Kyrie's able to do is attack downhill, quick spin, and continue on his drive without picking it up and without even doing it all the way to the rim. If you do a quick search, if you watch much footage, you'll see that he does this 3-point line, he does it in the paint. There are even clips of him doing it at half court where the defense tries to jump him and he spins, dribbles, downhill, and go. Now as you break this down and you work to add it to your game, it's very important to remember that even though it's a spin, it's a downhill move. A lot of guys get in trouble where they attack and as they spin, they take that dribble and then their next step is away. I want to be downhill right off of the defender, where if there's a defender right in front of me, if I get into this spin move, I spin, boom, and that next dribble is straight by. No dribble, no different than a between the legs, no different than a crossover. It's an attack move downhill. So I attack downhill. As I get into it, I step, the ball hits right as my right foot hits the ground, and then I pivot out. It's very efficient as far as my footwork. So if we break it down going the opposite way, I'm here, quick spin, ball hits with foot, and I'm downhill. Ball and foot again, they hit simultaneously, and I pivot out. That's the key part to this move, is how efficient your feet are going to be. If I come and I have to stutter step to get into it, it's not going to be efficient. If I come and I try to spin and I'm off balance, I'm going to be straight into the defender. I have to be off the defender, I'm down, ball foot hit, I pivot off, and I can continue on full speed downhill as I attack. So if I were to do it to the rim, I'm going to start back here, I attack downhill, I'm here, boom, defense steps up, boom, finish at the rim. So if I go through it live, I'm going to attack downhill. So I'm attacking, boom, defense steps up, dribble, boom, downhill, still get my finish. It's an attack move to the rim. I spin off the defense, I continue downhill, I'm low center of gravity, and it's an attack, not a spin to a finish. Our next move in the Kyrie series, and a move that Kyrie may do better than anybody else in the league, is the wrap behind the back, out of setups, going downhill. Now obviously he can do a great job if he's full speed, wrapping to get by the defender and continue on. But what Kyrie does is he can be in the middle of a setup, and he can be set up, and then immediately wrap and get to the rim or straight back into a drag for a shot. So again, this is out of a setup. He's not at full speed, he's just sizing up, and then he wraps and he goes. Out of your go, you have two options, as we just mentioned. If you get on that defender's hip, you can attack it all the way to the rim. Or if that defender jumps it, their momentum is carrying them to the baseline. So you can drag and you've got space into a shot, or you've created a closeout from the defense. The key as I get my wrap is I want to be downhill, and as I wrap, I'm creating space. You can see that vertical glide as I glide to the rim. If it's taken away, again, I drag. If it's not, I'm all the way to the rim. If you're gonna work on this, you can work on the wrap repeatedly, just up and down the court, where I might go here, 1, 2, wrap, 3, here, 1, 2, wrap, 3, here, 1, 2, 3, wrap, 4. I can repeatedly work on move, move, wrap, always downhill, always trying to get to the rim. Our next move in the Kyrie series, and we touched on it out of the behind the back wrap, is his ability to drag out of a downhill attack. In our Harden series, we've shown the drag under. If you break down a lot of Kyrie footage, you'll see that not only does he drag under to shots, he drag crosses the shots. In an extremely elite and extremely difficult move, he drags behind the back to shots. But if you remember back to Christmas Day when they were playing the Warriors, the game winner that he hit, that's one of the best examples of how he has the ability to attack downhill and suddenly stop. He's downhill, he's downhill, he's downhill, and he doesn't give any indication that he's stopping until he's already gotten into that drag. Now, several keys on this move. As you're attacking downhill, you do not want to slow down until you've already got into your stop. Number two, I want to stay low so I can immediately rise into that shot. And if I do shot fake it, or hezzy and eye fake, it's shoulders, eyes, and ball. I'm not rising and standing up and making myself unathletic. The only time I want to rise all the way up is if I rise into my shot. So as we attack it here and drag, it can be the shot, it can be the hezzy and go, but all of that starts with a hard think rim, think rim, think rim, stop. Defense is downhill and you're going to have numerous options. As you work on this, it's very important to master the footwork and the stop before you work on getting into shots. If you haven't mastered your body and you haven't mastered the stop, shots are going to be off balance, and more often than not, they're going to be short. So if you work on this move and you find yourself consistently shooting short, you need to work on, even if you're shooting the shot at 5 feet, get the move at that point to focus on your balance and your body control. Rep the move out without even taking a shot and attack downhill, outside foot is to the rim, drag it, rise, shot. We talk a lot about a foundation. And if you can't make this shot at 10 feet, you're not going to be able to make it at 15, and you're certainly not even going to be able to make it from the three-point line. Master it here before you step back. Progressively build to where by the time the season comes, you can hit it from anywhere on the court. But that comes from being a student of the game and understanding you can't start with game full speed. You have to start with your building blocks and work to get there. Our last move in the Kyrie series is going to be a finish, because you can't really do any Kyrie series without breaking down some of his finishes, because as you know, he's unbelievable around the rim with a full arsenal of left hand, right hand, different feet, English, inside, outside, floaters. If he gets to 10 feet, if he gets to 5 feet, he's nearly unstoppable with his ability to get the ball up on the glass and finish. The finish that we're going to work on is as he attacks, and it's one of his most famous finishes, is he attacks and he shows and he reverses to the opposite side, but instead of reversing and coming back with his left hand, he shows and then he wraps and finishes with his right. If you've watched our Kyrie drill where you work on your finishing, this is something we talked about doing right underneath the rim, where you just spin it, inside hand, off the rim and finish. So as I attack, I'm showing and then I'm back to the rim, finishing inside hand with a lot of English off of the backboard. The advantage to that is as I attack, if I step here and the defense looks to block that shot, if I go to reverse, a lot of times subconsciously the defense will look for me to come back to that outside hand. If I go inside hand and they jump outside, I've shown it, they jump outside, and I quickly finish right back inside with the wrap in the inside hand English. Kyrie does this with both hands, attacking from the wing, attacking from the corners. He can do it from anywhere on the court. As you work to add it to your game, start slow, go full speed, and once you've mastered it, you're going to be unstoppable around the rim. Kyrie's a great example of a player who, if you define fundamental, and there's a player who does things extremely well, extremely efficiently, he's very fundamental. But his level of being a fundamental player far exceeds your average high school player, or even good and great high school and college players. So if you want to get to that level where you can do these things in a game and your coach is confident in you to do these in the game, you've got to work on them on your own. You've got to break it down and do it without the shot hundreds of times. You've got to do it with the shot thousands of times, and you've got to work on it in 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3 games before you try to implement it in 5-on-5. So each of the moves, work on them, break them down. Don't try to add them today, try to progressively add them by the time your season arrives.